Welcome to The Funnel. My name is John Shane. I'm president of Alignment Group. This is episode number 271 of The Funnel. 5 sales tips you can share with a new salesperson. Before we begin, I want to urge you to go to alignment-group.com/thefunnel, subscribe, and we're going to give you a coupon code for the online sales training class. So the sales training class pricing has been significantly reduced as a kickoff to the product, and we're getting some good feedback. So we kept this code in place because people like it. So head on over there, and when you click subscribe, it'll take you to a page and show you the code. Just copy and paste that or write that down. And when you sign up for the class, you'll get an additional, I think it's like $40 off. So it brings it down to like $99, well below the starting price for that class, which I think we were starting at around $5. Then the kickoff was going to be around $279, and then I decided to throw the coupon code in there to make it $99. So it's a great deal. Check it out. Head on over to alignment-group.com/thefunnel and subscribe. Today's agenda: chase the right business. Always be listening. Always be helping. Stop talking. And closing takes work. So I thought about this when I was talking to somebody recently about onboarding their new sales reps. And this relates to all new sales reps, but I think more importantly, it relates to new sales reps, people who are new to selling. And they've started with your company and they're kicking off their career in sales. And you have to give them advice. And there's all this great advice about, being a team leader and working together and supporting your company and your product and all that cultural stuff and all that sort of heady stuff. I really wanted to focus on the things that I felt had some tactical value to the salesperson. And, we had talked about the sort of team fit and all that good stuff when I was talking to this person. But I said, there's probably 4 or 5 things. And I narrowed it down. I basically came up with 5 things that you could probably say and probably try to instill in a brand new sales rep early on in their career. And there's hundreds of things, from making calls, sticking with it. It's a numbers game, all the crap that you hear. And I'm not saying it's crap. It's, all the stuff that I say and everybody else says. But I really wanted them to have a takeaway, something that they could use and they could use for a very long time. So that's how I sort of came up with this podcast and this list. And the first one I came up with was, chase the right business. So they've been through your onboarding, they've been through training, they're transitioning into your company or this career, and there's a lot of questions that they're going to have. And there's a lot of things they just don't know. So they're going to be hitting you up for all kinds of things that are related to sales techniques. And one of the things I've felt like was really important for them to hit the ground running and to be successful was to understand that they need to chase the right business and not chase your tail on a deal just because you want to win it. And I can relate a story to you. This has to be 15 years ago that we hired a rep straight out of school, brand new sales rep. And back in the day in the company I worked for, we built, and I think I've talked about this before, we built sort of a bench of new sales reps who we always had, and they were business development roles, but we always had people trained and ready to go if a territory would become available. And it was a great way for us to train young talent, bring talent into the business and give them the time to be successful while producing something for us and earning the opportunity at a territory. So we had this rep that we moved into a territory, and I just remember, and there was a number of times this happened early on with him, but there was this one deal, and he just wouldn't let go. And it wasn't really the right deal for us. And I always said that, he was a little bit hard-headed when it came to this, and it was all about winning, and I'm going to get this, and no one's going to take this away from me, and the competition's not going to beat me, and I'm going to overcome every challenge. And my response to my colleague, one of the managers or my boss, was, I think this guy, if there's a ladder laying on the ground and there's a wall that he needs to go over, he takes the ladder and he runs forward to the wall and tries to bust through it instead of leaning it against the wall and climbing over. And my point is that he's missing the forest for the trees. He's chasing his tail for a deal that, quite frankly, is not a good deal. It's not a good opportunity. It's not something that the company would want. So play it out long term. You get the deal and you've given away a lot of things and you've made a lot of concessions to get this person or to get this deal. What do you think is going to happen with them as a customer? The same thing. They're going to continue to ask for things. And they're going to continue to push on you. And you made very little money on that opportunity, but you won. And that's not the kind of work that we want to see from new reps. Now, they're going to come back to you with a question. How do I know it's a bad lead? Well, that's where I come in as your manager. You have to trust me when I talk. If you find out all the information and we're working opportunities together and I tell you it's a bad lead, you need to trust me on this. This is not, I shouldn't say bad lead, but this is a bad opportunity for you. This is not the kind of business we want to go after. It's not in our vertical. It's not the right person. You're not talking to the right person. Sometimes you get wrong leads or bad intel. Somebody's giving you a lead or you have bad intel and it's not going to go where you think it's going to go. But you have this sort of positive attitude. Everybody, they like me. They have the ear of the decision maker. All of those things that, are bad, but you can't get to the decision maker. All of those things that having experience, are problematic. So chase the right business. When you learn how to chase the right business and get rid of the impossible leads or get rid of the ones with bad intel or the wrong leads, then you can narrow your focus down to the real opportunities to bring you business. You'll find your pipeline getting bigger and stronger, your percentage rates going up, that's a closed business, and your income increasing. So chase the right business. The second one is always be listening. And you've heard me talk about listening, right? A lot. I think from a professional and personal standpoint, I see it every day. I see people who absolutely do not listen. Do you have those people in your life where you ask them a question and they answer something completely different? And you're just looking at them like, that's not what I asked. So if you don't, then you're lucky. But we all run into those people in business and in personal life. You ever watch an interview with a politician? They never really answer the question. They go back to some talking point, and then you go to the next channel and you listen to the next politician from the same party, and they're saying the same thing. They have the script they read from. They're not listening to your question. They don't even want to hear your question. Listening takes work. If you're a good listener, you'll have good questions, because that's what it equals. Good listening equals good questions. It's that simple. Process it. And if you don't understand, create clarity. Can you clarify that for me? I'm not really sure what you meant by that. In successful sales calls, your prospect is talking more than you are. Most people don't focus on listening in sales. They focus on techniques and all of that good stuff. Most of us in sales have to work on listening. Most of us are ADD, right? So we're all over the place. So we have to work on our focus and our listening skills. And why do I say that? Well, you've heard me say this before too. If you listen, really listen, you ask good questions, they'll tell you everything you need to know. If you just keep talking and you overtalk and it's like a stream of consciousness and you're just firing out questions left and right without any kind of order or thought to it, and you're not really hearing what they're saying back, you're on to the next question. In their mind, it's disrespectful. Have you ever had somebody say, I just told you that? I was in a sales meeting once as a VP of sales. I was standing in front of the entire sales force. I said, I need you to pay attention to this. And I said in front of the whole room, one of you is going to come to me today and ask me to clarify what I'm about to, and ask me about what I'm about to say, because you're not listening to me. I guarantee it. And everybody laughed in the room. There's like 30-something, 40-something people in the room. So I finished saying what I was saying, and I left, and I came back, and I'm going about my day. And about an hour and a half after the meeting, a sales rep walks in my office, and knocks on the door, comes in, and say, I have a question, and asked me, and he was serious. He was serious. He wasn't playing with me. He was serious. He didn't hear what I said. He wasn't even paying attention. Okay? You would say, well, that speaks volumes for you, John, as a VP. Yeah, maybe it does. But I don't think so. I changed some of the rules around after that, like no smartphones or laptops. You can spend the 30 minutes in this particular meeting without your devices. Changed everything. No, I didn't give quizzes or pop quizzes. But the point is, if you talk too much, you confuse people, and they feel like you're not listening to them. And that's never a good thing. So always be listening and work on your listening skills. This is something they can take out of the office with them at home on the weekends and evenings when they're dealing with other people. You'd be surprised once you start honing on your skills and focusing on it, what happens. What happens in some of your relationships. It's amazing. Good and bad. Always be helping. So what does that mean? Well, that's a phrase I've heard often from George B. Thomas was the one who I heard that from the first time I heard that from. And he has a really good podcast. And he does a lot of HubSpot work. He's an amazing guy. Look him up. He's got some good stuff out there. Really smart guy. And he went through his whole history with me and how he started in sales. He was a furniture salesman. And he was just highly successful. One, because of his listening skills. And two, because he was trying to help them find what they needed, solve the problem. Oftentimes, sales reps are selling features. Why are you selling features? You're selling features because there's a product focus when you get your training. You're trying to convince somebody to buy what you have and why they need it. So you get into features, which leads you to the price discussion, which leads you to a discount. But that should never be your goal. You should be focusing on helping them solve the problem. That's worth a heck of a lot more in dollars than features. So that takes you out of the discount game. Show them why your problem is going to help them solve their problem. And if it can't, tell them why, and point them in the right direction. You want to narrow down your discussion to how you're going to help them solve their problem. You want to be asking the questions to help them solve their problem. Right? So it's not about features. Never has been. It's about helping people get to the answer. And what's that worth to you as a sales rep? It's worth a lot more than dumping features on them. Drives me nuts when I hear that stuff. So we're telling them pretty simple stuff, right? Things that you, in wisdom, you can impart on them that they can take in the field with them every day. And helping is never a bad thing. People buy from people they like, you know that. They're going to respect you a heck of a lot more if you're really focused on solving their problem. You understand their business, you ask questions about it, and you provide solutions. That leads me to the next one. Stop talking. We say, well, you just covered that in listening. I did. But this is a little different. Because it is part of the listening. It's like when you get the deal at the end and you keep talking. There are reps that do that. They say, yeah, let's move forward. And they just keep talking about all this stuff. And then all of a sudden the customer prospect says, wait a second, that sounds like I'm buying something I don't need. It's a little more expensive. All I want to do is solve this problem. And I've seen that happen. And don't oversell your product. It's people get a real interest in it, and then you get all excited about it. And it seems like they're ready. And you just keep talking. You're not trying to overwhelm them or win them over. Somebody that's convinced that says yes, you don't need to do any more convincing. Back off. Okay? If your product solves 50 problems and they need it to solve 3, and it's really important to them to solve 3, and there's ROI and all this good stuff, then why do you need to talk about the other 47? You don't. Unless you see a glaring problem in addition to the 3 you're solving. So, I've noticed this, and that's where you become value add. That's where you did a really good job of listening and asking good questions. But when you oversell your product, it seems like you're overeager. And people back off of that. So it's very simple. Once they're convinced, stop talking. Don't oversell your product. And stick closely to helping them solve their problem. Always be helping. That means less talking. And then finally, closing takes work. So, it's one of those things that there are those of us, and I've said this, that if you do everything right up front, the natural progression is to close. But sometimes people need that push. They need that sense of urgency. So don't ever forget to create a sense of urgency. Carefully craft. I said craft. Carefully craft your questions so you keep it moving. Maybe we can do this next week. You ever heard that? Well, I would love to catch up with you next Thursday and we can talk about signing this deal. Instead, be direct. Can we meet Wednesday afternoon? Well, you're going to get if they say no, you're going to get a sense of what kind of urgency they have. Or they might say no, but I have time Thursday morning. Great, let's do that. So I don't want to get into all of the heavy nuances of closing, but understand that if you do everything right, yes, it makes closing easier, but it takes work to close. And don't ever forget to create a sense of urgency. That sometimes people need a nudge to make decisions. Don't you have those people in your life that can't make decisions? It's the same in sales. My worst fear is taking somebody to, people that I know that have difficulty making decisions, taking them someplace where there are a lot of choices. Oh, if it's a big menu, we're in trouble. The whole, what do you recommend? I don't know this person. Why would I ask them what they recommend? Well, they work here, blah, blah, blah. They're pushing on you what they think you'll like, or what they're trying to get away with, or what they're being told to push. I don't trust that. I have a relationship with them. I don't know what to choose. Okay. What do you think's going on in your prospect's mind? Same darn thing. They do the same thing. So you have to create a sense of urgency. Listen, we only have an hour for lunch, and we've been here for 15 minutes. You need to order something now because we're not going to get out of here in time. Oh, okay. I'll have the Caesar salad. Perfect. It's the same here. So that kind of advice, like, look, you need to work on it. You always need to create a sense of urgency. Don't be pushy or desperate. These are 5 things that if they do all of these 5 things, they're going to be fine. The rest of it will fill in the blanks as they get better and they learn, as they develop and evolve as salespeople. Don't chase the wrong business. Always be listening. Always be helping. Those types of things are valuable. Stop talking and learn how, and just make sure you understand the closing takes some work and create a sense of urgency. You can find us on Facebook.com/alignment group. I'm on Twitter @ShayJohnR, and of course I'm on LinkedIn. You can contact me, jshay at alignment-group.com. Of course, our website, alignment-group.com. Thank you for subscribing, and as always, keep filling the funnel.